Hello, everybody, and welcome to Langer's Legion. I'm Langer, and let's talk Star Wars Legion. And today we're going to do something a little different than you've seen from our previous videos. I'm actually going to do kind of a roundtable discussion with two of my homies from my local Legion scene. I've got Tyler on the screen in the upper right, depending on how this is recording. I've got Stefan, at least on my screen, down below. And we just took part in the Evergreen Open Legion event last Saturday, and I just thought we would do a little recap of that. But before we kind of dig into all the goodness, Tyler, why don't you start us off by just doing a quick intro and tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we'll get on to it.
Yeah. So my name's Tyler, as you could probably guess. I got into Legion probably about 10 months ago and quickly stepped into that competitive scene. Really like the game, really like the way it plays. It's got some simplicity, some complexity. I love it. But I've been maining the droids since I've stepped into this game. And I've really gone back and forth, a love-hate with CIS. I can't tell you. I mean, the first 4 months were hell with these guys. Could not figure them out. Could not figure them out. Then I started realizing, you kind of probably should coordinate some orders, get some order control out there, and really push those activation numbers. That's how I've kind of been finding the flavor text on those guys. But yeah, that's
Nice.
where I'm at.
And a former 40K player liking Legion, which I like to hear as a non 40K player. And then second, we've got Stefan. Stefan, you want to go ahead and do a quick intro as well?
Hello, everyone. I'm Stefan. I started playing about 10 months ago as well. Tyler up there is one who got me into Star Wars Legion. I haven't played any other wargaming, tabletop wargamings before. And I love my clones. Huge fan of clones. Gotta have my Anakin, my clones, do all of the shenanigans you can do with your clones.
Yeah, you guys are both of the age bracket around those clones. Just to date myself. And for those that obviously see me on the channel, y'all know I'm a relatively new player. I'm actually about the same amount of time as Tyler and Stefan, almost 10 months, maybe, 10 months into September, October, or year, excuse me. Yeah, my first tabletop war game, love it. Of course, I'm a Star Wars nerd. You can kind of see the stuff in the background, so that probably doesn't come as a surprise to anybody. Well, before we get into the lists and the recap, I just thought I'd spend a minute or two talking about the actual event. So we went to the Evergreen Open, which was sponsored by Evergreen Legion. If you want to check them out, if you're in the Pac Northwest, evergreenlegion.com. And I'm going to look at some show notes here just so I make sure I've got everything. It was held at the Dragonfly Game Con, like I said, last weekend. So August, was that 18th, 19th, and 21st, if I remember right. 3-day event for the Legion portion. So there was a heat on Friday, a heat on Saturday, and then the finals actually started Saturday night and then carried into Sunday, which we'll kind of touch on later on in the show because that did make for a long day. Spoiler a little bit. But all three of us actually played on Saturday. None of us played on Friday. Friday was a 20-player heat. Saturday was a 16-player heat. For Tyler and Stefan, this was your guys' second tournament, right? So this is a little bigger than the first one you guys played in, correct?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You guys played in a store, just a local store tournament, correct? Last time or first time?
Yeah. Which was actually had a really good crowd on that one, and that double dark player was in that one as well.
Yeah,
and
little foreshadowing, but yeah. Some double darks. And this was actually my first tournament. I've probably played these two the most out of anybody, just because we normally play like on Tuesdays or Thursdays, or Tyler and I just kind of play whenever we can. I've actually probably played Tyler the most out of any of the local scene, which is great. I thought I'd give us a quick faction breakdown to see what you guys' thoughts on it is, or if it surprises anybody. So day one, we had 7 Empire, 7 Rebels, 4 Republics, and 2 Separatists. There's your droids, Tyler. We had some Ewok lists. I saw some skirmishers and some slingers, but no full kind of bright tree, which I thought was interesting. We did have 2 double darks, as Tyler kind of hinted to. And one of those double darks was not only double darks, but it was double bounty, which is just super nasty as far as I'm concerned. We had 1 Tempest Force. So any thoughts on that, guys, from a day one perspective? Anything surprising to you there? I know, granted, I didn't go through all the lists. There was some general 501st and clones, but like for like the meta
Yeah.
lists.
I mean, generally, I'm really disappointed with what I saw coming from Epox and Bright Tree. I was expecting a lot more pop, but even with the current cover rules, I was really expecting those Ewoks to be a little bit stronger. They did kind of fake me out in the first 2 rounds or so. They were hard to hit, but once you can get in and peel back that cover, I mean, it was easy pickings.
Yeah. What about you, Stephen? Are you going to comment there? Saw you nodding.
Yeah, I didn't get to see any Ewoks that day, unfortunately, but like I didn't hear the Ewoks doing too great for the most part. They kind of like died pretty quickly, but just how droids are, their horde helps them out.
Yeah.
And is it still too early to be judging that though? I mean, just to be fair, I think they just came out a month ago, 4 weeks ago, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to make the comment of like, maybe folks got them. I mean, I've got a couple boxes of them. They're not open. They're not painted. So yeah, I mean, Tyler, there's probably an element of maybe people don't have them or they've got them. They're not painted. Now, granted, you didn't have to have things painted for this tournament, which for me, I was happy about because as you guys know, I'm definitely the slowest of the painters. So I had some unpainted units on the table. But yeah, I mean, maybe a little bit of that, or maybe it's just everybody's like, they want to wait and see. They want to see if somebody else brings it. You know what I mean? It's like the chicken and the egg. Like,
yeah.
Well, I'll bring that when I see somebody else bring it.
Right.
But let's get to day 2, the day that we all played. So 6 Rebels, 4 Empire. So Empire, tied with Rebels, backseat to Rebels this time. 4 Republic, excuse me, and then 2 Separatists, right? So Tyler and your droids again.
I didn't realize.
Yeah, we had
it was so rebel heavy.
Yeah, rebel heavy, very rebel heavy day.
Rebel heavy.
Yeah, some Ewoks again, so mixture of skirmishers and slingers, but we did have, which we'll get into. Tyler and I both faced the one full Bright Tree squad that was there. It was a gentleman by the name of Kyle, a great gentleman out of PDX that I played. But no Tempest Force, no Blizzard Force, right? So no Blizzard Force day 1, no Blizzard Force day 2, and no Tempest Force day 2 as well. I was kind of wondering. I mean, Blizzard Force, I know we've all kind of lost the shine over time, right? Like it's not the quote unquote meta. But no Tempest Force, I was really expecting to see that triple ATST, hit the tabletop. So
I was so surprised that there was no Blizzard Force.
Right.
I do have a question. The other droid user that wasn't Tyler, was he running the invasion battle force? Because I know he had Grievous in the tank, so I know he had the requirements. I just don't know if he was actually running it. Oh, he had a spider. You're right. That I forgot. So he did have a spider.
Yeah, I can pull up his list really quick. I'm sure this is great for folks that
I know
might
they
not
can't
be
have
watching
it. I was
the
like,
video.
ooh, did they? Because I didn't play him either, but I know he had
the Greaves, tactical droid, a whole slew of B1s, 2 spider droids, and the Federation tank, which by the way, if I've got a pic of it, I'll post it in the video, was a sweet paint job. Was that the gentleman that had the Roger like hand painted on the tank?
Yeah.
His army was beautiful.
On that tank. It was, oh my God.
His army was beautiful. I mean,
yeah. So, and then in the finals, things kind of get back to what I would expect to see. 7 Empire, 3 Rebels, 3 Republics, 3 Separatists, though. Is that a fat finger? I got to look at that. That seems, because that doesn't seem right. Maybe we'll double check those numbers. Yeah, but
16.
we didn't have any we only had 2 Separatists the other days. I guess, never mind. I guess maybe somebody from Friday came along.
2 from Friday and 2 from...
Yeah. I haven't had my coffee yet, even though it's like in the middle of the afternoon. We're recording this. But as no surprise, at least not to me, the 2 double dark lists made it. We had one list with the Ewoks make it. And this is something that we all talked about a little bit that I was surprised to see just because maybe my lack of knowledge. 4 lists with Death Troopers. Lots of Death Troopers with Krennic, right? So a lot of 3 and 4 Death Trooper lists, which I played one in the first round, which we'll get into, and it was pretty nasty. Not something that, again, based off my own experience, I was expecting to see, but you know, that's neither here nor there. But again, no Tempest Force and no Blizzard Force. So that's kind of a quick rundown of what was on the list those days. I do want to thank the folks at Evergreen Legion for putting the event on. They had some great sponsors: Legion Train, the Fifth Trooper, Army Painter. Tyler won you won like a speed paint set, Tyler, if I remember, for one of your paint job, like best squad or something.
Best unit,
yeah. So Izzy and the team over there ran a great event, had some great door prizes. Obviously, they had the
their
championship
debut event as well.
Oh, sorry. Okay, debut event, nice. Did not know that.
Yeah.
So all in all, good time. I'll definitely, be back, even though my which we'll get into, my record wasn't all that great. But let's get into lists. So let's talk about what y'all brought, why you brought it, and kind of just some overall thoughts of it. And then we'll dive into some recaps. So, Stefan, why don't you start us off? What'd you bring and why'd you bring it?
So I brought a 501st Republic list. I think it's just overall a very strong list, with the fact that with me I have Anakin with Force Barrier, Force Push, a Naked Clone Commander, 2 Phase 2s with just a medic, 3 full arc squads with the DC-15, an Echo Strike team, and a speeder or bark speeder naked, nothing on it. My arcs are effective, not counting the strike team. The strike team's basically only effective at range 4 to 5.
Okay.
Because if he gets closer, he doesn't really get more effective, based on the fact it's 3 wounds and just one guy adding extra dice, not a whole lot.
Yeah.
The other 3 full arc squads at range 3 to 5 or 4 to 5, they're more effective than anyone else with that range. At range 3, they're just as effective, if not more effective. And then at range 2, they're almost as effective as a fully decked out Black Sun squad.
Somebody out there tell this Gar player to swap out Force Barrier for Saber Throw.
Right.
Someone's got to tell him. Somebody.
I still killed armored units, so.
Yeah, I mean,
no, it's a strong list. It's a strong list.
I still was able to get past some armor.
Yeah, I won't spoil it, but that list still did okay without the Saber Throw in there. Yeah, so basically, Stefan, you're playing a range game. You're doing that blob mentality, kind of keep everything tight, clone sharing,
clone sharing, exemplar,
and that list, it's like really effective at pretty much range 1 to 5. I mean, which is really hard to capture in a list to be effective in all range types. I mean, it's the 4 arcs is pretty disgusting.
Yeah, and then so Stefan, let's not get into your whole battle deck, but what are you hoping to draw? Like, what's the condition you want? What's the objective you want? What's the deployment you want? Let's just keep it to the number 1 for each of those 3. If like you could get the perfect flop.
Conditions, like there's like 2 conditions. If I can either get like fortified or clear conditions, like those are probably the 2 best that I'm trying to search for. Key positions is the best for my list, because I can just sit back all game, and then round 6 I got to get in there, like easy. That's mission condition. Deployment, I'm pretty flexible on most deployments, as long as they're not danger close or disarray.
Yeah, I don't think anybody wants disarray, maybe, but
as long as I can deploy to where I can utilize my range, I'm fine with what the deployment is.
Gotcha. Okay. And what about you, Mr. Tyler? You already mentioned a little bit that you brought some droids, but what specifically did you bring to the table?
Yeah, so I am a true fan to Grievous. I don't care who says he's not that good, because I think he's pretty darn good. His command cards especially. But I took Grievous with a Magna Guard unit close by. I took 2 strike team snipers, the BXs, which are really nice, especially when you just throw on a electro binocular to a B1 unit. I find it really easy to just pass off. But I took 4 B1s, 2 with rockets, and 2 of them with the E5, the 3 black, because I was marching in there, getting close. And it was really beneficial to actually have some droids be able to hit something.
Yeah. What's the range on that E5?
It's 1 to 3. Okay. 1 to 3. and the 3 black on the one guy. I mean, it's pretty decent. And I took the 2 medical droids and 1 repair, the PK repair droid, which never got used, like
Oh,
ever,
interesting.
which was really sad to see. I mean, it got some use, but not where I wanted to use it. It was kind of like this last ditch effort, free action. Oh, okay,
Yeah.
I'll just
Yeah,
bring
you got to
this
do. You're like,
droid back,
might as well do something.
do something with it.
Yeah.
And but yeah, it was I would have rather taken the 3 medicals, because with this list, with 2 Black Suns and Grievous, they were definitely favoring taking shots on the battlefield the whole time. So 3 medicals would have definitely been the switch up, but I was really happy with the list.
And what about you for your battle plans? Like, what's the number one thing that you're looking for each of those on that flop when they flop them over? If you had your perfect ones, you know.
Biggest thing I'm looking for is hostage exchange. I mean, right off the rip, I want to get hostage exchange. I want to take the Black Suns. Every player I've played has taken the hostage unit and moved it towards themselves, and then will then deploy range 1 away from me. And they do not expect me to just move right at them, throw the shots. And but yeah, hostage exchange and rapid reinforcements if I could ever get it.
Yeah, and that hostage exchange, you know, I'm assuming you put that Black Sun unit down with that.
Oh,
That
absolutely.
range 2.
Range 2, but yeah, range 1 is where it really starts to get.
Okay.
It starts to hurt. That's where you
Nice.
get the frag grenades, get the surge crit, you
Yeah.
get the magdet 3 black. It's Black Suns have a very high fire density.
Yeah, somebody that's played against that list many times, I can attest to the damage
Yeah.
that those Black Suns can put out. So yeah, a good list. And then for myself, I'll keep it quick. I brought mine was kind of like the no force user Empire list. So I brought Iden as my commander, Boba as my operative, 2 sets of shores with a T-21 for some heavy support, 1 mortar, and then 2 strike teams, scout strike teams, you know, kind of play that role like Stefan's doing for that long range snipe. And then of course, you know, you can't bring Iden and not bring along Inferno Squad. So just a naked basically units on all those, like no real upgrade cards on anybody, minus Iden and Boba. So, you know, outmaneuver on Iden, you know, seize the initiative on Boba, kind of the standard, you know, Boba Fett cards. It seems like there's kind of a standard build out for Boba. And then, you know, on the flop for me, I'm looking for, you know, I like recovered supplies. That's a great one with Boba, that speed 3. If I can get in the middle, get in there and get out. Another one that I like, and maybe Stefan, I'd be curious if it's in your list as well, is like, I also don't mind getting sabotage the moisture evaporators, because with our range, or with my range, you know, if I'm winning the bid or if I'm close enough, I can kind of sit back and just kind of plunk with all my Pierce 1 on those strike teams, and with Iden with her sniper rifle. I can kind of, it's not the most exciting game, but you know, it's kind of a, you know, playing out back, or way back, but
it's better than
worked.
a KP mission.
Yeah.
Sure.
For
Yeah,
that.
it's basically the same thing as KP, but like I didn't put it in there because haven't used the 501st a whole lot before, like deciding I was going to use it for this tournament. And normally with regular clones, I don't want to be moving and attacking. Like I want to kind of sit still, so like I don't want to have to move across to the other evaporators. So I usually don't play that.
Got it.
It's interesting though, because that mission favors scouting a list, and I'd imagine that you could pull it off pretty well.
Jason just said it just now. I didn't even think about like how well that would have played for the 501st. So I might swap that in there.
Yeah.
As long as as long as you're not having to run into your opponent, you know, so it's based off bid and whatnot. I mean, not that you don't have enough firepower to potentially do it, but it's the strength of it is like, okay, you got to come to me a little bit. Especially if, you know, how the table is and the terrain and whatever, but it works out pretty good.
Yeah, because I think with the arcs, because they're tactical 1, it's okay to move, shoot, and advance at somebody. It's harder to do it with a gun line where you want to aim, shoot, and not move, shoot. So
yeah, and that's what I run into, like, because I'm either trying to give my shores orders to give them aims. You know, I'm coordinating through Gideon Hask, or I'm, you know, handing them out things. But yeah, or I'm just I'm either moving and shooting without aims, or just, trying to hold steady where I'm at. But just something to think about, Stefan. Maybe if anything out of this call, you got some ideas on something else to try. Well, thanks for running over the list, guys. I thought right now let's move into the rounds, right? So we all played on Saturday. Like I talked about, there was 2 heats. The top 8 from each heat advanced to the kind of the final round. So you guys played a lot of Legion on Saturday. So let's talk about round 1. Stefan, why don't you go ahead and start off? Tell us a little about your match, what your opponent brought, things that might have surprised you or whatnot.
So round 1, I got paired up against another Republic player. He out-activated my 9-axe by 1. He had 10. He was running a Cody list, so he had Cody and a clone commander, 2 ATRTs, 2 phase 1s with RPSs and clone captains. And then he had another phase 1 with Boyle and a DC 15. And then he had 3 strike teams with one of those being Echo.
Okay.
How did that Boyle work out?
Boyle guardianed like 1 or 2 shots, and then I got the angle because he did keep his Boyle unit behind an ATRT, so I couldn't like shoot it immediately. But once I got the angle around the ATRT, I just eliminated the Boyle unit. But basically, once he decided Boyle was ready to start shooting and he poked out, it was just Boyle and the DC while everyone else hid.
Oh, he put Boyle in a strike?
On a DC, he put a DC 15, so it's 2 red, range 4, critical 1 on a phase 1 unit. I think Boyle should go in an RPS unit and not a DC 15 unit. So I disagreed with his decision on that build process, but
what were your battle plans? Like what was your tasks that you were trying to accomplish?
He had the bid, so he ended up being blue player and I ended up being red player, which is what I prefer. We played key positions, advanced positions, and major offensive, not advanced, major offensive, and we played clear conditions.
Wow.
Yeah, clear condition. So we deployed
all 3 great things for your list.
Oh, right? Yeah. I was happy going into that like after we deployed, I was like, this is looking good. Sadly, I still deployed a bit defensively in my major offensive deployment, and after I tried to move move Echo to get the range 5 shot on Cody because Cody deployed pretty aggressively, and I was just like 2 inches short. I was like, oh, I'm almost there, so I couldn't shoot him. But he moved Cody forward, and then I just like killed him in the next like round.
Oh wow!
But yeah, in the first round, I wasn't really able to shoot anything besides, I think, one of the ATRTs he had. I shot each of them, one of them twice, one of them once. One of them took 1 wound and the other one took 2 wounds. And that was only using snipers, so that's fine since only one of those has critical 1.
Yeah.
Next round, I was able to start shooting Cody. He because he double moved a lot of his force forward on the first turn, and I was like, cool. I'm just gonna move dodge round 1, move shoot if I can.
Round 2. What was the mission again?
Key positions. So we don't score till round 6. So he was double that middle objective. The only thing he didn't double move forward and played pretty well was his strike teams, which we're all just sitting back to snipe because that's what they're doing.
Yeah, that's what they do best.
So I don't think I shot a single strike team of his the entire game because I'm not worried about 2 dice, 3 dice. If he gets the range 3 coming at me, I'm worried about those big fire support shots. So I'm trying to take out the fire support and the bigger dice pools.
Yeah.
So I was able to I think Cody was the first person I killed. He came forward. I got 3 into him. He took all 3. He only had 2 wounds after that.
Oof.
He tried to shoot and hide, and then I was able to just, with silhouette to silhouette, line of sight rules, garbage. I was able to see him and kill him, and he was like, well, that sucked.
Yeah, he was probably like, well, this is great. Okay.
Yeah, I started slowly thinning out his army as the game progressed. Anakin got up in there. He moved forward wiped out the rest of Boyle's squad, I think. Yeah, he got up, killed Boyle because Boyle was trying to get aggressive since like other things were dying pretty quickly. Anakin got up there, wiped Boyle because I played his 1-pip to get Relentless, so I ran in Relentless Boyle, was able to move into base contact with a key position on turn 5, and it was able to force push his clone commander, who already activated that round, into Anakin, so you couldn't shoot Anakin.
You got him bubble wrapped a little bit.
Yeah, well, just the clone commander, his second commander that already activated, so no one else could shoot Anakin while Anakin was just sitting up front, touching the key position.
It's just crazy, like especially with the way
the clone commander the next turn, just dead.
Yeah,
the way Anakin works, just the way Anakin works. I mean, the way he ramps up those permanent cards, and then with his 501st list, by the time you drop lead from the front, and you're now indomitable. Right? That's the lead from the front card?
Leaders of the 501st.
Yeah.
It's the 3-pip, yeah.
And that typically comes in like 3rd or 4th round. And then when that gets dropped,
I mean, only play
good luck
that
suppressing those guys.
I only play that card once someone has the ability to play Anakin's flaw card. Because more often than not, if Anakin has 2 suppression going into the end of a round, they're always playing my flaw card. So I can't issue Anakin in order. That's usually happening around like 3 or 4. So Anakin has Exemplar Reliable 2, Surge to Crit, and Massive Force 1 and Defend 1. So you're just not letting me get that free dodge at the start of a round, which is huge to take away from Anakin. So I'll play it when he's suppressed because I can't issue him an order. And on that card, I can give orders to 3 of my ARC troopers. Yeah. So all my full squads get orders, and then it's like, okay, that's cool. My clone commander will direct to one of my phase 2s, so I have fire support up if I want that.
So needless to say, I'm guessing you won.
Yep, I controlled the middle point, my back point. His arcs controlled his back point, so I won 2-1. He killed 1 full arc squad, so he had 97 kill points on me, and I killed like almost everything. He had 1 ATRT and his 3 strike teams left. I killed like 536 of his points.
Wow. All right. Well, that's a good first round.
Yeah.
How about you, Tyler? How'd the droids come across in the first round?
Yeah, we played Hostage Exchange, and Limited Visibility, which always, I have been getting in these games where these guys play that barrage card on Limited Visibility, and I've been guilty of that myself. But yeah, he played that right off the rip with Leia, and it just went nowhere. So you did what was it? It was the one you can't shoot beyond round, or like range 2. Range 2, round 1, and then range 3, round 2.
And he played the barrage card the first round.
Round 1, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and you can't shoot the hostage unit. And so
that's a tough break.
Man, I have been there so many times. It is
that's
rough.
A 1-pip, right?
Yeah, the 1-pip. I mean, you got to go first. You did get that.
Yeah, he's like, I got to go first. I can't, use the 2 red or 3 red with the beam, right?
Yeah,
and
the way it just worked out, the Black Suns pretty much cleaned up. They were able to apply blast to a lot of the Ewoks because I played Bright Tree, and so
they're low the Bright Tree list.
Yeah, and their low profile just kind of didn't work too well for them. So in the end, I mean, it was just sweeping with the Black Suns, and I did get really cocky towards the end and actually almost lost that game. I wasn't paying attention to this Ewok unit, and had he gone first in round 6, he would have taken my hostage out, and I would not have scored, and he would have scored with his. So thankfully on the dice roll, it favored me that day, and I did get to go first on that tie pip, and I did pull out of there.
Okay.
But I was a big mistake. Almost happened.
Wow.
Oof.
I mean, that's the barrage card in round 1. Yikes. I mean, because that's like 1 or 2 cards that you take Leia for. That's one of them, right?
It's a very strong command card.
Yeah. Yikes. And just so everyone knows, that Bright Tree list was because I played it as well. it was Chewie in the ATST, Leia, Wicket, Logray, and C3PO. And then, if I recall, it was a bunch of just skirmishers and slingers, if I remember right.
Yeah.
Which is funny to see the little teeny miniatures on the table if you haven't seen them. I mean, they're kind of adorable. I mean, they're so small.
They're so small.
So small. And there's just so many of them, you know. Like I think you can get a full squad. They're kind of like your B1s, Tyler, where you can get a full squad up to 8, if I remember right.
You can
7 or 8.
Yeah.
6 base.
Yeah. So you're kind of swarming folks. You know, obviously they have the low profile, but they have the white defense dice. But you know, they're cheap units and you're making them up in mass, right? It's the whole quantity.
Yeah, I think it's
quality.
like 40 points.
Yeah.
40 points for a unit.
Yeah.
So you pulled that one out. You pulled it out apparently by the skin of your teeth. I didn't realize that. You didn't tell me that one during the day. You just told me. I knew you won, but
it was I had eliminated 640 points from him, and he took 200 from me. But yeah, I was just feeling good as the rounds were progressing, and I just was like, I'll take care of them.
Yeah, you're like, you got a little comfortable. You're like, oh, this isn't a hand. Yeah, I can understand that.
Didn't even think about it. He almost got me there. Got me.
Well, for me, for round,
what
was that 7?
I'll show you, murder bears.
Right. Yeah. He's like, I'll show you what my rocks and stones and wooden spears can do.
Yeah.
Well, for me, for round 1, I did not fare as well as my two special guests here. I deployed though on my favorite table. It was a Legion terrain sponsored table, so that's some really great terrain, which was fun to play on. The gentleman I played against brought Krennic, 3 or 4 Death Trooper squads, if I remember right. And then he had Snows with med droids as well as Gideon in one of them. We did. I did win the flop. I had the low pip, and I got what I wanted. We played Recover the Supplies. I think it was War Weary, if I recall. Granted, it's been a week ago, and I just spent the last week in Vegas. I think it was War Weary. Whichever the one is where you have to be touching the terrain to get the suppression off. At the end of the round, I think that's War Weary.
Environment.
Yeah. Oh, Hostile Environment. Okay, that's one. And then we did offensive. What's the name of the offensive and the same one that you did, Stefan?
Oh, major offensive.
Major offensive. See, I had advanced offensive because you said it. Now I couldn't remember it.
Advanced position is the other one. I like running that too.
Yeah, but it was a good game. Tyler, I did exactly what I told you I was going to try not to do. I got super aggressive right off the rip. I infiltrated Inferno Squad. I just, I was like, oh, pardon me. Bleep that out.
Well, I could see that you probably got a taste of the standby Death Troopers by doing that.
Yes.
Walking right into them.
Yeah, and the gentleman I played is a guy named Michael, super nice guy, enjoyed the game, very friendly. There wasn't any issues as far as like we had some moves. We both forgot some suppression every now and then, but that was one thing I did notice. I was a little nervous about, like, again, going into my first tournament. I'm like, man, if I don't want to. I was nervous if I got paired up with like a sweat, or like I was nervous like would I be done in the 2.5 hours? Because we normally play in a very casual setting where we play after work, whatever, and it's like if a game takes 3 hours, it takes 3 hours. But he did win quite handily. We did actually both wipe off a lot of points, but he did win 2-1. I did grab a supply at the very end with Iden, but Mike, if you're watching, that was a great game. Enjoyed it. Hopefully I see you again sometime. But
yeah, really friendly crowd. I mean, really friendly.
Yeah, everybody
out there.
Friendly crowd. Obviously, just the folks. Even when I was just chatting, again, I played Kyle. You played Kyle, who's the gentleman that brought the Ewok Bright Tree. I was actually talking to him before the event. He was up from Portland. Just a good dude. Good conversation. What I want to talk about more specifically, though, is round 2. And round 2 featured you two were 1-1.
It was a real
1-0 each, and you all had to face each other. Now, for those that don't know, Tyler and Stefan have been friends since they were like in diapers or something. So, like, you're talking about a grudge match between two buddies that have probably played each other dozens and dozens of times and know each other's play styles. So let's
Yeah,
get into that.
he didn't tank around like we agreed, and
Yeah.
I still somehow drove him home afterwards.
Right. I was gonna say, yeah. Like you wrote Stefan wrote with Tyler. We were both like, if you guys play Stefan, you got to throw the game. Like that's
Man,
that's the tax.
first and foremost, this 501st list he's cooked up, I have yet to beat it. I think I've played it.
You've played it the most. You played it like 5, 6,
5 or
maybe
6
7
times. We're probably going on that number. But I am getting. I've gotten so close every time I've played the list. It went from being completely tabled to now we're going down to kill points. I kind of know how to react and take that list on, but still, there's no good way about it. And God, when they paired us up, I was just devastated. There goes my invite.
Yeah, there goes the undefeated, right? Like there goes the 3-0 or whatever.
Like, it's my time though. I was feeling good about it going into the game. And what was even worse is we were talking about it, and I was like, if I play you as long as we don't get an incredibly open table, I think I can hold my own. And we get our table, and it's a wide open forest.
It's the middle's
two
open,
buildings
and
on
there's
the
like
end.
line of sight blockers on like maybe one on his side, one on my side, but they're on the edge of the table.
I
Oh
was
man,
like, you gotta be kidding.
That's when you're
me.
like, hey, can we get a new table? Like, can we call a mulligan, new table? Flip,
Well,
roll a die to get a new table or something.
When I saw that, I played to deployment. I really didn't care about the mission at all. I really needed a deployment that was going to spread both of us out, and I was able to do that
so
with
I won
advanced.
the bid for that too. So I was a lower bid than Tyler was.
Okay, that's what I was gonna ask. So let's talk round 0. So
I was the lower
bid,
but I chose to be red player because if I can just not get his favorite condition, basically what I would say is his favorite condition, and my biggest
limited visibility.
Limited visibility. I think I can do this as long as limited visibility isn't the condition. Other than that, his battle deck is fine with me.
Yeah,
which what did you guys
it's really
on?
hard.
What did you end up?
So he tries to force limited visibility, and I get rid of it. So we ended up playing.
We played fortified positions.
Payload, danger close. So he got his deployment he wanted, basically, because we were
right.
There's no good spot to hide, especially when you need to advance the payload across the table.
God, it was horrible. And the way we deployed, I mean,
I put mine in the corner closest to like his edge of the table I could get, just so I could push my cart, and then I put everybody right there, right in the corner.
I think my fatal mistake. So I put everybody in one corner, literally 2 range away from your army. I had Grievous and the Black Suns, or 2 or 3 range away, right off round 0. So my whole army was there, and then I took a Black Sun unit and put them across the map, near the payload, because I figured red saves. They're going to be able to stand for a round or 2, maybe a couple, and march that payload forward for me.
Yeah.
That was the whole idea. But again, Black Suns don't like Pierce. There's nothing you could do. Against
deployed within range 5, so the whole arc squad can just stand still, aim, shoot, and still be within range of my own payload. Like I was like, this is easy pickings.
I think I should have, because I ended up abandoning the payload altogether. I mean, right off of round 1, I was like, this is going nowhere.
Oh, so you're just going straight to like wipe the table, hopefully.
Basically, he moved his payload at the end of round 1. I moved my payload at the end of round 1. At the end of round 2, I moved my payload, and by then we both knew it was a kill points game.
Got it.
Yeah, my
payload you don't score unless you're within range 1, right?
Range 2, you get 1 point. Range 1, you get 2, and in base contact, you get 3.
Right.
We finished the game 0-0.
Nice. Yeah, my fatal mistake was definitely putting Black Suns across the map. I should have just dedicated myself to going for a kill points game right off the bat, because I think then it would have been a much closer match. A dice rolling game.
It would have been a dice rolling game in an already very close game.
Yeah, so how did it end up?
So it was I lost 476 and he lost 404. And
Oh,
the problem is I shot him with a Black Sun unit. Blast, no cover. Landed 10
Black
hits.
Sun unit.
Landed 10 hits. He saves out with his clone commander. All saves. And so that was my one chance.
Those 10 hits in, I forced barrier 2 away with Anakin.
Yeah.
I clone shared a dodge to get 1 away, and then Anakin had 2 dodges sitting on him, so I spent 2 dodges. So I got rid of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of those 10 to just spending exemplar.
And that was round 5. So what that did is him not dying eliminated my chance to focus Anakin with them in the next round.
Yeah,
because that
I
was
took 1 wound from that attack. So on that 5 saves, I rolled 4 saves. I think I rolled 3 saves, 1 surge, and 1 blank. So I exemplared a surge off of Anakin.
Yeah, it was brutal. It was brutal. It came down to just getting that one guy.
Yeah, because if he killed him, he probably would have killed Anakin, and I would have lost by kill points.
Yeah. So what was the vibe on the table? Like, was there a lot of trash talking? Was it quiet? Was it just like
I think it was actually
focus?
pretty quiet. It was pretty quiet.
Rounds 1 and 2 were quiet, and then rounds 3 were just like we were talking about like basically what was happening in our game. Because like by round 2, at the end of round 2 or round 1, he got to go last with Grievous because he out activates my army, I think, by 1 activation. So he just double moved Grievous, and I was like, I should have thought of that. Because I moved a couple. I think I moved both of my phase 2s forwards so they could stay with the cart, and Grievous and them were in the path of where my cart was going. So I had to kill a huge army to make sure I could still get my cart moving, but without trying to put my units in a bad spot. So what I then started doing is I just rotated my arcs away from the cart around the best I could so I could kill the people over at his cart that he had over there, which I think was like the Black Sun unit and then 2 B1 units. And
it was so fun.
I killed the Black Sun unit. I killed one of those B1 units while they were retreating, and the other unit fully retreated and joined up with his whole army.
What was so funny is we lightning through rounds 1 to 5, I think, within the first hour and a half. And then I think we tanked round 6. We were just really thinking hard. I think we took a
That's when the brain
we
power
rolled
was
into
coming in.
overtime. Yeah, round 6 was bad.
Just like round 6 rolls around and we're like, who is going to get more kill points? So we're like, what can I realistically kill so I just get kill points?
Yeah. It was a nail biter. Once round 3 kicked in, I was like, oh, this is gonna get
like second round he played the Grievous bomb, ran up and Grievous bombed me. Round 3 he plays my Anakin flaw card and my whole army comes indomitable and I rally off all of the suppression from the Grievous bomb.
Oh man, that's brutal.
Yeah,
but Stefan takes it, goes to 2-0. Tyler, you're going to 1-1. I play the same gentleman that you played before in round 1, Tyler, with the Bright Tree, like Kyle, and we play out a. We both agreed I hope I have a picture of it and I'll share it, after post recording. Table we were on was dense. Like it had so much terrain on there. It was, I was nervous because of those Ewoks and the low profile and him like just squirring around. So I was a little nervous there, but it actually didn't turn out to be that big of a deal. We ended up playing Hostage Exchange. I had the bid. Hostage Exchange, which first time ever playing Hostage Exchange, mind you. Like I'd never played it before. I've never played it with you guys. I can't remember if I ever played it with Conrad or anybody else in the stores before. And he picks one of his Ewok unit, one of his core Ewoks. I pick the mortar unit, health 3, courage 2, decent base, speed 1, right? Trying to get over. Major offensive again is the deployment, which is nice. I liked that. And I was just super. So this was the learning round for me. This is the game. This is the game I learned some rules, which I had not known. The first was when he grabs his ATST and then just literally sticks it on some heavy terrain. And I'm sure my draw fell to the floor because this is when I didn't realize about the height to when you need to climb as opposed to a standard move.
Which is
So
above silhouette.
yeah,
Yeah.
Right.
yeah. So he puts his
Climb's
ATS.
the part above your silhouette.
Yeah, so he puts his ATST on top of this terrain piece, and then literally, like, as I'm like kind of like deploying my guys and moving around, like he can now just like see everything, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
I'm like, oh man, this is a mess. But fortunately, it didn't actually. So I guess I didn't. I think I mentioned I wanted to talk about my list. I bring 2 storm units with the HH-12 and the specialist, so I can pop the specialist with the rocket launcher and get that free aim with the precise. So I'm bringing lots of impact. Ultimately, it didn't end up being that big of a deal. I melted the ATST in about a round and a half. He had one big shot on Boba Fett with the ATST, with that card of Leia's, the Chewie card, where
Oh
like
yeah,
Leia
fire
shoots.
support.
Yeah,
but better.
and of course he's using the double rainbow, out of the ATST. I took 1 wound on Boba on that, like saved out. I can't
Surge
remember.
red, baby.
Yeah, I can't remember if it was surges or not, whatever it was, but I took 1 when I was feeling pretty good, and then I melted the ATST. We went around and we had again, in another rule that I didn't learn, that I learned back to the standard move versus climbing. We had some questions about. He did a great job. Now, this is one thing I'll share for anybody that's watching that's not played in a tournament. The cohesion game was strong with Kyle, if he's listening to this, and those Ewoks, because there's just so many of them. So he moved his Ewok squads by my hostage, and then he kind of like cohesion around, so like there wasn't a good spot for me to land right when I moved. Like I could move through his units, but I couldn't land. And again, that's when the silhouettes came in handy. I found out, like, well, if you keep thinking about the mortar guy's only like, this is bad representation. He's only like that tall, right? But a silhouette is twice that.
Oh yeah, he's huge.
Yeah.
Right.
Super
So then
tall.
Huge.
So the idea of possibly, after I saw the ATST just go plunk, right on top of a building or whatever it was, I was like, well, dude, I'm going to move my mortar. And the mortar guy was just shy. Like we had to bring Kyle over, the judge. So I was like, well, I'm just going to move over this, but didn't work out. But long story short, I did find a way to navigate through his like murder bear, like cohesion nightmare. The problem is we lost a lot of time. Like I finished my first game with 20 minutes to spare, good or bad. I mean, Michael and I were just kind of going at a good clip. This one, we ran out of time, and it all comes down to this. It was a crappy way to lose. I'm sure Kyle wasn't like, I'm sure he was happy with the win. I'm going to put words in his mouth, but maybe not the best way to win, because we ran out of time. He shot and killed my hostage in my deployment zone on the last activation in round 5, and we ran out of time.
Man.
And that's how, so he won 1-0. And I'd have to go back and look at the kill points. And I'm sure if you asked him, he was like, I probably wouldn't. But I feel in my gut, guys, I feel like I would have won, because I had all my shores left, Boba left. I had done a really good job of kind of wiping out most of his stuff. And I took the ATST out, took a couple of skirmishers out. But anyways, that was for me, there was 2 lessons there. One was like, and there was another cover rule that was super interesting to me, where I had it looked like a straight shot. Like I'm facing Leia with my unit, but the back part of her silhouette was like clipping the container, the piece of cover. And so since, even though I'm looking at her, like I got full, like everything from the front, I almost said full frontal, but the rule was he got heavy cover. And I was like, oh man.
Yeah.
Again, that's just knowing the rules, knowing
silhouette. I don't line of sight rules, man.
Yeah, I mean, like I'm looking, you're just straight on, but yet the back part of her foot or whatever. So anyways, there was a couple calls, so I lost time there, but I learned the rules better. It definitely was a really good learning game for me. Because I think, I play with you guys all the time. It's a little bit more casual. So if that was me, I'd probably be like, yeah, she's open. You know what I mean? Like I wouldn't even have thought about.
I would have been like open.
Yeah.
I do like the old cover rules as far as troopers are concerned, just because vehicles now that like the AAT for the droids, it's so big. The silhouette's so big. There's no way you're not clipping cover, shooting somebody.
Yeah. But I did lose 1-0. It was a learning round. Picked up, that was definitely, it was great, but I felt comfortable compared to how I played round 1. Round 2 was way better as far as like positioning, getting my guys in, knowing how I wanted to play it. It's just I wasn't playing fast enough, ran out of time, and ended up losing. So that was a tough, way to go out on round 2, because going into round 3, which I thought was funny, I had a bye. I didn't even play a game in
somebody
round 3.
dropped out.
Somebody
Yeah,
dropped out. So I had a bye. So apparently you get a free win, and somebody was telling me, and you get 700 kill points.
Yeah.
Like you get a win. So like you go look at my stats, it's like, well, 700 of those kill points, aren't really real.
Yeah, that's some street cred right there.
Yeah, I was like, woohoo! Yeah, look at that. But you two obviously had a third round. So Stephen, you went first last round, I think. Well, round 1 you did.
Yeah.
Tyler, why don't you kick us off for round 3 and kind of give us your recap here? You're 1-1. You're still playing for a top 8 slot.
Yep. Went against a Rebel player who was also 1-1 at the time. He took a double dish, Lando Calrissian, and old man Boba. And let me tell you, Lando, you never see him, but he's pretty good if you can manage his command hand. You can play those contingencies real well.
Okay.
I've
never seen anybody play Lando. So
no, yeah, it was a first time. He doesn't do a whole lot. I mean, he's like a Han Solo. He's just running up there. He's chucking 2 red dice. He does have the sharpshooter too, so it was kind of annoying to deal with. He's just plinking a guy every round.
Yeah.
But he took double dish. I tried to push hostage on him. He wasn't going for it, so we ended up playing Recover the Supplies, which worked out a lot better than I thought it was going to because of the BX Scout 3. So I just took those strike teams and scouted right into position, took my supplies, and it was kind of game on from there. I moved really quickly to the middle supply, and I did a little maneuvering with the command hand. I got up to the edge of the building, so that way by the next round I would play a 1-pip and get on the building, and get off before those dishes could fire. He had really good placement with those dishes. I mean, he played fantastic. His
and those
play
dishes
on the
are range
standbys,
5.
Yeah, range 5, and he was throwing 6 black dice. And in tandem with Old Man Boba, they were pumping out a lot of damage. Ruling with Respect is definitely one hell of a card.
Yes.
And I didn't realize Old Man Boba is independent standby.
So, I didn't know that.
Yeah, you're able to get some attacks off before your activation.
That's pretty nasty. Okay.
Yeah, it was really cool to see. It was really cool to see. He was playing him really well. And I actually thought I lost the game. I kind of started to give up at the end. I just couldn't secure the middle supply. He ended up going toe-to-toe with me on the building, and I did a last-ditch effort. I said, screw it, let's throw everyone on the building and let him just rain hellfire on me with those dishes. I said, let's just go for it. And
just take it down to dice, basically, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I ended up taking the game, I think 150 points over. I got 150 more eliminations.
Yeah, because that one, did you go into extra time? Because I remember
we did.
Watching you, because you're over on the sidewall, and I felt like that one went either 2-time or extra time.
I surprisingly went overtime round 6 with every game.
Oh, okay.
Every game, yeah. So thankfully it was round 6, and we finished up. We finished up well within the overtime limit. I think it's 15 minutes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I got to finish every game there. But yeah, I mean, he was a really strong Rebel player. And even with the board, it looked like freaking Coruscant downtown. I mean, there was buildings everywhere. I was really surprised to see that he could pull a position off with the dishes and see the whole table. I mean, he really put the thumb down on the Black Suns. They could not get in. I'd move in, find cover, retreat, move in, find cover, retreat, and it was just like this dance. I hate the range. The range lists really kill me.
Yeah. Well, no, that, I may happen to have an old man boba still in the box because I only bought it for that 3-pip to use with my Imperial boba because that card is so good. Just, just adding one extra black dice to every unit. Like range 1, line of sight, as long as Boba's got to face up. I mean, I know there's a lot of conditions to it, but adding a black dice, if you get that into enough units, I mean, it just adds up. And then if it's Boba, and I can't remember if it's off the top of my head, if it's 2 other orders or 3 other orders. I think it's 2 other units. If I remember
2 other units.
Yeah, and he was using it on his strike team snipers for his rebels. So he's throwing 3 dice at me. It was pretty strong.
Yeah.
And because they're just adding extra dice and now another weapon that keeps that high velocity, which is nice.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, get that Pierce. So what about you, Stefan? So Tyler, I guess you did win, I guess. Yeah.
That was a win. I ended up going 2-1.
2-1. All right. All right, Stefan. Round 3 for you, buddy. You're 2-0. Remember, you're at the top of the heap at this time, or second, one of the 2.
Yeah, going against another 2-0 player. He was playing Empire. He had Iden Versio with 2 Imperial Special Forces and Inferno Squad, just decked out with the Special Forces. He then also had Bosk and 3 units of Stormtroopers with the T-21A blaster, which adds 4 white and gives it critical 2. And then he had, I believe, just an extra Stormtrooper in each of those units.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So 6 Stormtroopers unit throwing 9 white dice, critical 2. Like, those guys can do pretty well.
I was surprised. You guys finished that game in like 30 minutes.
Oh, he told me he's a quick player, and I just played 2, and then we were done, and I was like, we still haven't, like, we finished with over, like, I think, like, 50 minutes left in the round.
Wow.
Like, we were done fast. I was not expecting that. But we ended up playing battle lines, intercept the transmissions, and fortified positions. So and I was red player because I got outbid again. So I was red player in every game of my day for all 3 games, which, as I prefer because I'm usually down activations. So I get to react to your deployment and then hopefully not have to just keep deploying and flanking me with deployment. So we put down our barricades. I basically put myself in the right corner where I have a huge, like, mound snowdrift blocking line of sight. And I place it to where Anakin's completely blocked by line of sight. So is my clone commander. My Bark's just off behind us, like in the corner. And then I place it to where my arcs. This was the only game where I scouted with my arcs from deployment. So I scouted forward so I could see out across at stormtroopers he put across.
What do they have scout? Just curious. Stuffing them up. Is it?
They have scout 2.
Okay.
Yeah. So I scout 2, but I left people at least one person far enough back so that they were all still within Anakin's force barrier range, so I could still force barrier.
Yeah.
So I only need one person at range 1 of him from each unit to do that. Game starts off. He says with his bounty on Bosk, he's going to put it on my clone commander because he's probably not going to kill Anakin. Fair. Clone commander is definitely easier to kill than Anakin.
Anakin's one of those guys you just ignore.
Yeah.
For the whole round. No.
We start off and I'm just taking pop shots at that stormtrooper unit I can see with my ARC troopers. I take it down to a unit leader in the first round with my snipers, which was fantastic. I basically was getting 1 Pierce 1 or like a couple. I think one of my rolls I rolled 2 crits and then he rolled 2 blanks. His defense dice in the first round were just not there, so I was able to just wreck that unit. So I killed that at like the start of round 2. I started moving forward so that I could take more shots on his people. See, he infiltrated his ISF basically around the middle point, so like he was already there and in a good like defensive but aggressively offensive position at the same time.
Yeah, because you're scoring in rounds 2, 4, and 6, right?
2, 4, and 6. So. Yeah. So I start moving around. I still have sharpshooter. So all my arcs have sharpshooter 1, so
Oh.
it's helpful. But I start moving around, getting closer in round 2, and I take out that one stormtrooper unit and I start shooting the second unit. I kill that unit in round 2 because I was able to get some range 3 shots with my arcs, so I just added more dice, and I was rolling hot on my attacks. So he was down 2 stormtrooper units in the first round, or by round 2, and we were tied on activations, so he was down activations. As the game progresses, we keep moving forward. He does tactical strike, and basically,
card.
And basically, what he did is he moved forward and then moved exactly back to where he was at. So he theoretically just didn't move, got both his aims for tactical, and then steadied shot into my ARC troopers. And I think through that whole round I think he had all 3 of his ISF able to do that. I started shooting one of them that round. So one of them had not a full dice load, but he killed 1 ARC squad and nothing else died that round. We keep
a great
advancing.
card by Iden. It's very similar to the
card. He blew through all of my defensive utility with like the second attack, and then the third attack started just like making me have to roll a lot of defense dice.
Yeah.
And that's where you'll kill my ARC troopers, is when I'm rolling a boatload of dice. But I start advancing. He gets a couple wounds in on Anakin. I actually got quite a bit of wounds in on Anakin. Anakin got down to like 5 health, took 5 wounds. But he was able to get this nice shot with Bosk where he rolled, I think, on his first roll, like all surges, so it was nothing but crits into my clone commander. His only shot Bosk got in my clone commander, and he just killed my clone commander. So he takes...
Oh, he gets the bounty.
Jeez.
Gets the bounty. So going into round 6, if I control the middle point, as I basically am going to, because I have more units, because I've killed more things, it would force a tie if he didn't have bounty. So it'd be 6-6 without bounty. With bounty, he was winning 7-6. So I was like, Anakin needs to get in there. And round 5, Anakin... So round 4, Anakin one-shots an entire Imperial Special Force unit, 5-0, 1 swing. It was... awesome.
For you, the other guy's like, oh man.
Yeah.
Pierce 3 is gnarly, man.
That was his round 4, and then after he killed them, he moved and force pushed stormtroopers into him. Round 5, he kills those stormtroopers, moves and force push Bosks into him. Round 6, he swings on Bosks and force push Bosk closer to my units, and then my ARC troopers were able to kill Bosk, so he lost his bounty point. And we tied 6-6, and he killed 1 full ARC squad and my clone commander for a total of 157, while I killed, like, I think, 546 points.
Oh, all right. So another KP win for you, or kill point win for you.
Yeah, another kill point win. But I averaged around, I think I finished the total tournament with like 1,500 kill points. I had the most kill points out of anybody, which was interesting.
Nuts.
And by winning that match and having all those kill points, I ended up taking first in the Saturday heat.
That's right. You were the champion for the day.
I was the champion for the day.
Champion.
Which was awesome. It's glad to know. I feel like, hey, I was a training partner. You beat me a couple times, so I feel like I had something to do.
For at least
I mean, it was.
I wasn't expecting to go 3-0 because my first tournament I went 1-2. So I was just like, if I can go 2-1.
Yeah,
that was my goal. So I surpassed my goal, which was great.
It was rigged.
Yeah, it was rigged. Do you? I'm going to put you on the spot, but do you have so for winning the championship? Again, there was some great door prizes that Evergreen Legion gave out. But yeah, there it is. But the holographic
Boba
card it's already sleeved. It's a pretty amazing looking card. I'm super jealous of that.
I'm now trying to play Boba Fett Empire, so
yeah, you're like, well, why wouldn't you?
Exactly.
So congratulations on that, Stefan.
Thank you.
I was super happy for both you guys. You guys did great. I had a blast. Obviously, I wish I did better, but at the end of the day, I was there for having a good time. I actually we got some good cards too. Like I think Legion 99 had sponsored or had some giveaways, so I got some really cool Stormtrooper unit cards that, just from alternative art, which are, because I
Yep.
play only Empire, which was nice. But yeah, so
lots of
you
good
win.
handouts.
It's awesome, Stefan. But let's go into the top 16, right? So just so everyone knows, right? So we played, well, these guys played 3 games. I actually played a third game, but it was just a pickup game. So you play 3 games. We got there, what, at 8:30 in the morning?
Something like that. Yeah.
By now it's almost 7, I think. Maybe it was 6:30 because they did the rewards, give everything out. Then you guys have to go in and you have to play a 4th game. So they play the first round of, I'm just going to call it the finals. And you guys have got to go in and do that. You guys want to just wax a little bit about that experience or how that went?
Oh, yeah. So I got paired up against the winner of the Friday heat, which is the Double Dark, Double Bounty Empire list.
Yeah.
And he comes up to me and goes, "Congratulations on winning the Saturday heat. Since we both have world invites, do you want to just play for fun?" And I was like, "World invites? Like, I got a world invite?" I didn't realize the winner of each heat got a world invite.
Yeah.
So I got a world invite. So I was
That's
like,
awesome, Stefan. That's so awesome.
Being like mentally exhausted because I like super fatigued all day. Like trying to like stay focused at that, like into the 4th game, very hard. So when I found out I could just not think too much and just have a fun, like loose played game, I was like, I'm all for this. So I played a bit aggressive and like moved forward aggressively, and he was able to get, I think by round 2, his both his Dark Trooper units were taking range 2 shots into Anakin. Anakin ate so many of those shots that he got up to 10 suppression.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Anakin, I was saving so good. So he plays Anakin's Flaw card. I play my Indomitable card. Anakin gets pulled pretty early, so I was like, I need to get Anakin to safety if I can. Let's rally these 10 suppression. I had 11 suppression, so 10 suppression on my rally roll. 9 of them come off. Anakin gets both options.
What?
That's
Rallied
crazy.
9 of 10 with Indomitable. So
it was Indomitable.
Yeah, I played the Indomitable card. So I was just
about to say.
Rolled 9 of them off, moved and dodged, and was able to like keep him alive almost for the rest of the round. But then Cad Bane jumped up after I've already spent his dodge and was like, pew, 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 4 crits. So I was like, damn it. 1 got through. I saved 3 of 4, but he was at 1 wound left, so he died to 1 shot from Cad Bane, and he got a bounty. And then basically all I really wanted to do, because the only other time I've played Darks in a tournament, the previous tournament, they tabled me and I didn't kill a single full unit against that guy. So I was like, I just want to kill Darks. And I was able to pick off both of his Dark Trooper units, as well as take out 2 full squads of his stormtroopers. So he won key positions 2-1, but I beat him in kill points. And I'm having a list.
So you had Cad, and who was the other bounty hunter? Was it IG?
Cad and Bosk.
Oh, Bosk. That's right. Okay.
Yeah, Cad and Bosk. Basically, round 1 he played Lion in Wait, and Bosk rolled all crits with like 10 plus aims.
Yeah, whatever those the nasty amount of aims is.
Gets 1 aim for every time you activate. Bosk goes last and just goes pew 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 pew. I will roll a surges eventually.
Yeah.
How about you, Tyler?
Bosk in that game didn't do anything. He did like a couple shots, barely did anything because all of my arcs are impervious, so I was just imperviousing through a lot of it.
Yeah. How about you, Mr. Tyler?
Oh man, it was a long day at that point in the tournament, and
but you
really,
had something to play for. Like,
I did,
Stefan, but like
I did not even really thinking twice about it. I was just like, let's go. I'm ready to go. So I just went into that game with complete brain fog. Threw my droids like across the table away from Grievous. So all my droids were panicking with 2 suppression. And it was hell. Yeah, he did take a really good list. It was like an Ahsoka, Cassian, K2 list.
Did he have a dish?
I mean, he did not have a dish. Okay. He had He had those 3, and he had 2 Rebel Troopers, and he did take some Ewoks.
Okay, because the
on
guy I
top
played,
of
I
it.
only asked because the guy I played the pickup game had Ahsoka, Cassian, and K2, but he had a dish. I wasn't sure if it was the same guy or not. So
Yeah, it was.
that's a
can't
good
remember, it was
list.
like,
That Cassian's great. I mean, since those point changes, his guns are basically free.
Yeah.
Yep, and that teamwork from K2SO.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
of course, Ahsoka being a Force user, Force users are usually pretty good, like.
Yep.
So,
Ahsoka
typically-
arguably is like third best Force user, so
Yeah, she's really good. I mean, there was at one point when I was in melee with her with Grievous, because I've really been sitting on Grievous because with the block, he still gets the surge red saves in combat. Granted, he will have to use Impervious most of the time, but I do find it that he holds a better position when it comes to melee. But yeah, there was a point where he took Ahsoka and he hit me with I think it was like six dice, and he Jarkai'd everything to crits, so Grievous could not spend the dodge to get the surge blocks because you can't.
could
Yeah,
still spend the dodge to surge block. You just wouldn't get rid of a hit.
it says you have to when you spend a dodge, you gain block.
Surge the block.
So I'd
you
have to spend
you
it.
could spend a dodge, but then you wouldn't get rid of a crit, and you would still surge block, right?
Oh, I guess you're right. My mistake on that.
because I guess we need to look into that. So you're saying if you spend it, even though if it doesn't block anything?
Right.
Yeah,
You
even
can
though you're
still
not going to
spend
get rid of a crit, you still spent a dodge to activate block, essentially.
Well, since this is going on YouTube, and if somebody's listened to this far, you know the answer to that. Stick in the comments down below, but I'll definitely look that one up because that's a good call. So like, you spend it doesn't mean you get to use it or do anything with it, but you spend it, right?
Yeah.
So that's an interesting angle.
Yeah,
there you
I'm
go,
curious.
Tyler. Maybe that's a learning moment. Now like with the little
Right.
rainbow. Now you know.
Yeah,
so
right.
How'd you do though? Did you pull that one out or?
Oh no. It was really close game. I eliminated 600 points from him. He took 300 from me.
Wow.
But he did capture the hostage because it was hostage exchange. Took the Black Suns, moved him right in.
Did the same thing, huh?
Started laying waste to I took Ahsoka with my Black Suns. I took Ahsoka down, I think half health or right at round 1, right off the rip. And then I just because of that, when he eliminated my Black Suns, the hostage I think was 1 range away from his deployment zone. So he just picked it up, took off. And because I threw my droids, I was thinking because I had 2 rockets in the strike teams, I was thinking let's put these guys off to the side. I'm going to march in with Grievous, my Magnas, and my Black Suns, and then my droids will kind of play pickup crew. But it didn't play out that way at all. They were so far away. I mean, I would have to double move them for 4 rounds just to get within shooting range. So it was rough. But yeah, that fatigue, I mean, it sets in and you just can't think, can't see
you're
clearly.
Tired. I mean, my feet were hurting, my back was sore because I'm old. I was just like,
I was sore.
And I didn't play all 4 of those games. Like, Stefan's going all crazy.
Yeah, I had to plug in my
4 games is 10 hours. 10 hours on the table. You're on the table.
10 hours of team. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Not ready for that. That was rough. Yeah, my calves and feet were sore the next day.
Yeah, we were out for 16 hours.
Yeah. And I'll tell everybody, we came separate. These are my boys. I was super supportive, but I was like, I'm out. Good luck, guys.
Yeah.
Enjoy your 4th game. I'm gonna take off because it's gonna take me an hour to get home. And I paid the price. I didn't tell you guys. It took me forever to get home. I-5 was just jacked.
405 405 was shut down. One of
our 405 was shut down, so I-90 was. So I probably should have just stayed and just waited it out, but whatever. But I just ended up sitting in the car going, well, this sucks. But the bonus was I was sitting down.
Right.
Fine.
Yeah, my 4th game, I just sat in the chair and only stood up when I needed to do line of sight checks. I sat down all of
you're looking over. Yeah, that looks good. I'm not standing up. That
looks good. My 4th game I sat the whole time.
Oh. All right. Well, I mean, congratulations to both you, Stefan. You got your invite. That's great. Go to Worlds. 3-0, Tyler 2-1. You got some, I mean, Stephen, you got some great gifts with Tyler. You got some good stuff too. That paint kit.
A lot of
Marmy
handouts.
Painter.
I mean,
Yeah, a
it
lot
was
of
insane.
Yeah. So there were some good giveaways. To just kind of wrap things up, let's do a kind of a quick roundtable discussion just about the event. You know, we mentioned the tables. I'm going to post some pics here. There were some great tables. I think there was 16 or 20 tables. I don't remember the exact number. Well done.
32? 32.
There's
Yeah,
32
like
tables.
Yeah,
Oh my
32
gosh,
tables.
I was way off. I thought there was only like
Yeah,
20.
because because the heats were up to at least 64
Oh, 64.
people.
I can do math.
Yeah, they had full-fledged nice 32 nice tables. I
Yeah,
mean,
Legion Terrain
great
sponsored
terrain.
one. Like I mentioned, the Fifth Trooper had a sponsored table. One of my favorite tables, I know it's not super thematic, was there was a table that was all the terrain was made with Lincoln logs, which I thought was super creative.
Looked like a bedroom. Yeah.
Anybody else?
Great.
Do you guys have any other favorite tables other than those, or were those your favorites? Hopefully, I didn't steal them, but
That one was nice. I also liked the there's that one that was like the sand people's kind of like home looking one.
oh, okay, like
That
a
one looked
Tatooine type of
nice.
thing.
Yeah.
I
didn't see
So
love
that.
the
they had
giant.
the huts and like the little 2-story building in the center.
Oh yeah, that was a nice table. I liked the giant AT-AT. I think that was a
Giant
1980s
AT-AT, yeah.
freaking toy. I think it was a toy, but dude, that thing was gigantic.
Yeah, I have a
That thing was like a height of 6 off the
Yeah.
table.
Well, I can
It
tell
was
you
like 3 feet tall.
there's an original one, and that one that was on the table was bigger than that. So that's an Empire Strike Back OG original right there. But that
Dude,
was a
it
cool
had
table.
them.
That was a big piece. It looked great.
Yeah.
And I know Izzy and a bunch of other folks, like he had made some Tatooine like Return of the Jedi skiffs on some of the tables that he had showed on the Facebook page. So they were just, you know, it was great tables, just better than the kind of the average stuff that we play on, you know, at the local stores when we pull out the Warhammer stuff that the stores might have on hand. But yeah, some great tables. Any other final thoughts, feelings from either of you? Tyler, we'll start with you as we wrap up.
I mean, the tables were great. The venue was nice. The spot they held it at. It was cool to see that this is the first time they've put this together. Hopefully they return. I hope they return.
Yeah, hopefully there was enough interest and enough people, right?
Yeah. Yeah. But other than that, I mean, good group of guys, good host. And I can't wait to hit another one.
Yeah.
Hopefully get my world soon.
Yeah. What about you, Stefan? Any final closing thoughts?
Great. Tables were beautiful. The community, the people there were always wonderful. Great camaraderie between like everyone I played. It's fun. Just everyone I played like really enjoyed playing the games.
Yeah.
So it's always nice when everyone has a good time.
Yeah, I've kind of mentioned that like when I talked about my first round, didn't know what to get into. This was my first one. You guys have obviously been to one more before me. Like I didn't know what the attitude was going to be like. I didn't know like the personality of like somebody's gonna be like super stoic or be all business, you know. But again, to echo what you guys have already said, everybody was great. You know, there was no, at least the games I played, and at least from what I saw from you guys, there was no weird funkiness or anything like that. Yeah, everybody's super good. You know, we could kind of we had to call the judge just because some rules that I wasn't familiar with, and that's on me. Yeah, Izzy put on a great show, great venue, all that stuff. Definitely will be looking forward to more and looking forward to my next tournament. Tyler and Stefan, I'm not sure if you're going to come out to my neck of the woods in October, but I will definitely be playing in more tournaments because I don't know, it was just fun. It was a fun experience, kind of see where you're at. I love playing first-person shooters and playing against other people just to kind of see, right? So it's good to play against other cats. So
yeah, I was gonna say I think we are signed up for October. So
I know you two are. You two are. I haven't signed up for that one. I might, but I know you two are signed up because I was looking at it.
Nice.
And the one we're talking about for those that might be in the Pac Northwest area, Lost Star and Gig Harbor is doing a store championship game. I believe it's on October 3rd. I think it's the first Saturday of October. Stefan, I think we're almost full. So
there's like 3 spots left. So
yeah, we're only doing the 16, but we're supporting the local game store here. So, all right. Well, with that, everybody, if you made it this far, thank you for listening and watching. This is obviously kind of the first time we've done a format like this. Maybe we'll do more in the future. If you liked it, post below. If you didn't like it, post below. Feedback is always helpful. To Tyler and Stefan, thank you. And to everybody else, till next time, hail to the Empire.